having actually a wonderful moment of sitting downness here at Interbike 2016 with Benno of Benno Bikes. Benno innovated the enjoyment of cycling with Electra and is now starting a new company called Benno, which is, I think, going to create a new category of e-bikes. And so here we are, ready to talk about it, ready to imagine a future with a Benno bike in our lives. What is it, and what's exciting and new about this platform?
You know, after I sold my business, I had a lot of time to ride around on a bicycle, which I didn't have before, and I realized how much more you can do when you can load stuff and when you can bring things, to different places, and I got to see how it is when you start living on a bike a little bit more, and what I realized that, if you can make a bike more utility, if you can make it do more things, you can use it more often. And what I found in the market, you find e-bikes that are bicycles that have systems attached to them, conventional bicycles that have e-bike systems attached to them, and you find cargo bikes that are very, very extreme and they're long, or they got big boxes, or they're just really big commitments. So what I was thinking, they don't have to be so long to carry a lot. So I was thinking, if I can make a shorter bike, if I can make a smaller bike that looks more like a regular bike, it'll probably appeal to more people. It certainly would appeal more to me. And with the e-bikes, it was always like I never liked e-bikes. I didn't like them, but I did like the sensation of how they rode. So instead of going poo-pooing e-bikes, I was going, no, Benno, if you really like the way they ride, why don't you make one that you would like to ride? And so I kind of set out on that journey, and I figured, I started designing this bike, and I was thinking we do a 24-inch wheel with a bigger tire, with a shorter wheelbase, but we want to still put some big racks on it and make it look really cool. I never designed for other people. Like, people say, oh, who's your target audience? I'm like, I don't know. And if I would know, I don't know anything about them. I don't know what you like to eat and how high your pillow is, and I don't know. So how could I, these designers always go, oh, I'm so smart, I can design for a target audience. I'm like, no, I can only design for myself.
And if it doesn't ride well in cowboy boots, hell no.
And if I like cowboy boots, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But the meaning is, you need to be honest to yourself, and you could be designing anything for somebody else, but as long as you don't want to use it, you don't want to ride it, then that's not the truth. And you got to be really honest. Like, you either ride it or you don't ride it. It's not like, oh, I could be riding it, I would like to ride it, or I should be riding it. You ride it or you don't ride it. If you don't ride it, you did something wrong. You don't like it. You made a mistake. And so in my case, I always seek for that, and I was trying to do something that's kind of cool looking, very functional, compact. And as I was working on the frame and the geometry of that bike, I wanted something really simple, really utilitarian, very architectural utilitarian, not like in my past, not very swoopy, no curvy, no fancy, just pure function. And it led me to that frame shape. It's very simple. It took me that. I got all the dimensions that I wanted, wheelbase, tires, everything, and the lines of that bike took me 5 minutes. Dim, 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 done. And then we spent 3 years filling in those blanks, make it work, but the lines never changed. And instead of feeling guilty about my 5-minute bike, I felt really good about it because I felt like it was really honest and deep from the heart.
Yeah.
And when we started adding the e-system, what happened is we realized that the pairing of the system with that frame that was made to hold more weight seemed utterly perfect. I think a lot of e-bikes are more like what I call, a Cabernet with a white halibut. Like, they're just overpowering for the frame, for the wheels, for the bike, and I don't want to say I did that purposely, but when we put the system in that frame, it became very rigid, it became very firm, it became very stable, very safe, and everything rode so in great harmony that it would feel like it was a perfect the perfect pairing of motor, frame, components, bigger tires, better brakes, and that kind of led me to believe, that e-bikes, there's a new segment out there that's waiting, more like a two-wheeled electrical vehicle, not really like a bicycle with a motor, it's a little bit of a different thing. And so at the end, when you look at the boost, it's kind of like, is it a cargo bike, is it an e-bike? It's neither one, it's both. And I think everybody that's been coming here, they've been kind of struggling, they're kind of intrigued. And the cargo bike people, they talk about the cargo side, the e-bike people talk about e-bike side, but I really believe there is a new customer for that bike that we haven't been talking to.
Thinking about this as a new form of transportation instead of an e-bike or a bike, or it's a new category, right? Who's going where? Where are you going?
What I like to do on this bike is very simple little rides and runs, like for instance, I like to take it to the beach, because when I get to the beach, I live on a hill, it's at 70% grade, and not very far, 4 or 5 blocks from the beach, but when I go to the beach, I can't find parking. So I can walk, but I don't want to carry everything, my surfboard, my beach chair, it's too much down the hill, so I want to drive, but I can't find parking. So this is a difference. Sometimes people say, hey, why don't you buy a golf cart? I'm like, well, I still need parking. I love golf carts, but when I come down to the beach, I still need to park my golf cart. So on this bike, I can roll down, I can lock it up right where I want to lock it up, I get back on, I go home. I like it for grocery runs. I live in Del Mar, we have the races all the time, or the Del Mar Fair, and the road to Whole Foods is always busy with an event. It's not very far, it's 2 miles, it's 3 miles, but I have always traffic there, no problem on the bike. I like to take it to the gym. I ride it down my hill, and it's interesting because I only have that little hill, 17% grade. And I could ride my regular bike more often, but a lot of times the truth is I don't want to, because I don't want to come home and then do that last little climb. And I believe everybody is routing out their trips in their head. Before you leave your house and you go on a trip, you map it out. So people go, if they think about taking their bike, they go, okay, I got to go this flat, this long stretch, up the hill, wait on that traffic light, go down, go up, and then they decide, am I going to take my car or my bike? And if that looks like too much of a chore at that moment, you're going to take your car. But what I found with the e-bike, the threshold of finding it a chore is much lower. So you end up going like, no, it's much easier to grab the bike lock than the car keys. You do that just much more often. The other thing I see a lot of people say, oh, e-bikes, if I ride a bike, I want to get exercise. So I'm like, well, that's fine. Why don't you go ride a bike and get exercise? I'm not trying to convince you to not go ride your bike. I'm just trying to replace some of your car rides with a bicycle, and if you do that, even on an e-bike, you still get more exercise than sitting in your car. So those are it's very normal stuff. I do nothing outstanding, nothing crazy, but it's the everyday coming down to the garage, jumping on it, and using it for simple errands.
You were talking a little bit about, the wheelbase and the wheel size and these certain key decisions. If you could walk through just the basic features of the bike that make it what it is.
What we have right now, we offer the rear rack, which is already on the bike. We have an aftermarket front tray that is frame mounted, so it doesn't swivel. And we offer that in silver, red, and black. And then we have pannier bags that will fit this rack a little bit longer. The simple drop in, pull out kind of bags or grocery bags or other items, and you strap them tight. And then we have a front tray bag that rolls and turns, or you can roll it down and you have a little bit of a kind of basket type of thing. And we also make a baby seat adapter that screws on the rack at the right place, very secure, and you just click in your baby seat. So those are the items that we do today, and we're looking forward to more accessories and giving people the choices that they want to make it their own bike.
You were talking a little bit yesterday about developing the frame and the strength of the wheels and the parameters around this new smaller wheel size. Can you talk a little bit about that process and the way that you've made changes in the frame?
Well, what happened is, I was looking at what is the right wheel size for this bike, and so I think you want to keep the center of gravity low for the load. And I'm thinking 20 inches too small, 26 inches too big, and I felt like 24 inch would just look right and would also give the bikes like a very nice proportion. And it's a very strong wheel, and we chose to use a bigger tire that we custom made. And because using a bigger tire on a conventional bike with a derailleur shifter system, creates a lot of clearance problems, and so we had to do a lot of engineering to solve some of these issues. And it was kind of complicated, but it was kind of fun to solve it, and it just became a very technical product. The tire that we developed is not really round in the profile. When you cut it, it's an oval tire, so it's higher than wide, which is very unusual, and it just kind of made everything work. So we have the suspension of the tire, but we don't have the strong resistance when you roll on it. When I started to think about this bike, I did a simple test at home. I took my car keys and my bike lock and I put it next to each other. And every time I left my house and I took my car keys, I had to answer to myself, why am I not taking my bike? And this exercise, and I was very honest because I had to answer, brought me to a simple list of objections or excuses why people don't ride their bikes more often. And I can come up with eight objections that have commonly come up, and then maybe a couple more that everybody has personally, but there was eight major ones. And
what are they?
And this bike can solve 4 of the 8. And that was a very, very important realization for me, because in the past I would make bikes cute and I would make them comfortable. And I got to bring a lot of people to ride bikes by cute and comfortable, but when I was thinking about it, if I have a bike that can solve 4 out of 8 major objections, 50%, I was thinking I could actually probably get a lot more people on the bike with solving 4 major objections than making it cute and comfortable. So this bike solves too far, too hilly, I don't want to get that sweaty, and I can't bring enough. Those are 4 major, I hear them all the time. It leaves you with safety, theft, storage, weather, and like I said, everybody has 2 more personal reasons. But when I realized that you could solve that many objections, and those are big ones. I mean, and especially for the US, because things are far apart. Too far and too hilly, I don't want to get that sweaty, and I can bring enough. To me, that was a big reason why I started this brand and I came back in the bike business.
Well, it's really exciting and inspiring to have more people in the e-bike industry that have experience in the bicycle industry and have experience in getting people on bikes, but really understand the potential and the spirit of the e-bike. And so from the perspective of someone who's just been doing this for a little while, it's really, really exciting to have you join us over on the e-bike side of things. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks.